Good morning, grade 10s. Welcome to today's lesson. It's term 3. It's the first day of term 3. I'm so excited to have you with me today. I am Miss Kasa, and I'm going to be your teacher for this term. On the screen, there's my email address. Please take it down because you're going to send me homework on this email address. And you are welcome to send me questions, queries about anything English related when it comes to help you. Okay. Today we're going to be talking about something that we do all the time without actually realizing that we're doing it. And we do it in other subjects as well. We do it when we speak to our friends, and we're going to do it in the future, which is even more important that we work on the skill and we actually. And I'm talking about summary writing. Yes, we're going to be talking about summaries today, a very important component in your exam. It's not worth a lot of marks, but it could make a huge difference. Grade 10s. Tell us about reading right now in just a few sentences, or a song that is really just wow, you think it's the in thing, or you could tell us about this short cartoon strip here. It's called Peanuts, featuring good old Charlie Brown. Okay, so you can just look at the and you can just tell us what you think it's about. Just a quick summary of that. So you are welcome to raise your hand and you can share with the class, or you can write down your answers on the chat and the ways that we can communicate with each other. You can tell us about a book you're reading, a movie you watched, or a song that you really like. So here's the deal. If you do that, I will tell you about a song that I really like at the moment. Remember, when you telling somebody a quick summary of something, there's questions that you can think about. They probably will want to know what, they'll want to know who was involved, who it happened to, when did it happen, where did it happen, why, and the other one is how. So you think of those things. So think of if you see an accident scene and you rush home and you want to tell someone at home that, oh my gosh, I just witnessed an accident scene. The next question is most likely to be, what happened? And then you those questions, the what, the where, the why, the how. So these are quick summaries that we share with people that in our everyday lives we take part in. All right, at the end of this lesson, you will know how to select main ideas from a text, know ideas into short, simple sentences. You'll also appreciate the importance of improving. Like I mentioned already, this is a very important skill to improve on because you'll need it in other subjects and you will need it in your academic career or in your academic future endeavors or in your career when you're working. You'll need summary skills. And you will also know how to understand, you'll also understand that summarizing enhances your reading and comprehension skills. All right, I want you to have a look at the example on this page. Okay, so there's the original, and we have a couple of examples. Brandon says that the song that he likes is called Say So by, and it's like pure pop, but also a bit of classical, and I can't stop replaying it. I haven't heard of the song. I'm gonna take notes and tell you what I think about it in tomorrow's class, and maybe I'll share the same view with you or not. Let's see. So you'd say Nicki Minaj and Doja Cat. Thank you for that answer, Brendan. Okay. So, great sense. I need somebody that will original summary for us. So you can raise your hand or you can just write it down that you want to read. Remember, it's important to read, and it's good practice. Help you improve your pronunciation and your fluency. It's a very short text. Volunteers to read the original text. It says, Tom and Bill were walking to school. They passed over the bridge as they did every day. But on this day, the river was full and the sun was shining in a cloudless sky. Tom said, "Let's go fishing." Bill wasn't so sure. "We have a test today. Shouldn't we go to class?" "Nonsense," said Tom. "You only live once. A day like this won't come along again." Bill wasn't sure this was a fish jump from the sparkling water. He decided Tom was right. They should definitely have such a nice day. Okay, so that's our original text. And here's a couple of examples of the text summarized. So I want to know from you which one best summarizes the text, the original from the three. So the first summary says, "Walking to school on a beautiful day. Tom thought they should go fishing. Go to school because they had a test. Tom thought it would be a shame to waste the day. Billy finally agreed." So that's summary one. Two, walking to school on a nice day. Tom couldn't resist skipping school and going fishing. Bill only agreed because of Tom's persuasion and the nice day. Three, the third one. Two friends decided to skip school and go fishing. Summary do you think best summarizes the original text? One, two, or three? And tell us why. Which summary? Tino says two. Tino, can you tell us why you say two? One, two, or three? And tell us why. Brendan says summary one, because summary two feels too much information is left out, okay? Right? Tina says two, because it gives us the reason Bill decided to skip class and it's not too long, okay? So we have a learner that says one, because two feels like it's too much information left out. Tino says, that's Brendan. Tino says it's two because it gives us the reason why they skipped class, right? And discuss which one is best after looking at the steps and the features of a summary. Okay. And then we'll come back and decide if it's really one, if it's two, based on what we have learned. All right. Okay, here's another example. To read, grade 10s. It's also a very short summary. Remember as well with summaries that you should be able to read the summary and not have to go back to the original text to find out the information. The summary should be able to tell you everything you need to know in fewer words. Volunteers to read grade 10s? This very short summary. Okay, I'll read it. It says, the article is about students being allowed to bring cell phones to school and being able to use the cell phones during class. Students should be allowed to use cell phones on assignments and tests. It is not cheap if the teacher gives permission to use the phone. Many other countries allow cell phones in the classroom. So should the US. It is happening today, and it will continue to happen until schools let students bring in cell phones. So that is a summary. We don't have the original text, but I want us to just have is and see, okay, before a bad summary, just based on what you've read and what you're looking at here. Is it a thumbs up for this one or a thumbs down? If you were a teacher, would you think, yeah, this works? Or would you, Is this a good or bad example of a summary? Tina says thumbs, it's a good one. Brendan says medium-ish, okay. Collins says yes, it's a good example. Class, do you mind sharing why? So with your yes or no, just why is it medium? Why is it a yes? Why is it a Collins also says yes. Collins says it's short and straight to the point. That's very true. What else? Which is what is important with this? It needs to be short, it needs to be simple, it needs to be concise. Tina says it explains what the topic is and it is short. Very true, very true. You can actually tell that this is about cell phones, children being allowed to take cell phones into schools. It's very clear. Brennan says, does it have to show both sides? For example, school management. We can't exactly, Brendan, because we don't have the original text. So we're just looking at the summarized version. Remember what I said about a summary, that you should be able to have all the information that is important, the main ideas, without having to go back to the original. Think of it as that I used earlier on, that you are you witness a car accident and you go home and you want with somebody. You can't take the person back to the scene for them to see that. Even if you do, it definitely won't be the same thing. You know, even if there's still cars there and there's people maybe lying there or injured, it will be a different scene from what you witnessed and what you shared with them. So that's the idea of summaries, okay? Think of it, tell somebody without taking them back to the original scene. So Brendan, Collins, Tino, you are all correct, because this summary is not too good and not too bad. It's fair, and this is why it's fair. It has minor or grammar errors. Can you pick up the incorrect word? The word that's not spelled correctly. Can you pick up the other grammar errors? Yes, Brendan, you're correct. It's belling. What is that supposed to be? Belling is definitely incorrect. It's not a being. Yes, it's supposed to be being. Thank you for that one. What other grammar errors can you see or pick up from this short summary? Or something that is incorrect. It doesn't just feel right. Tina, instead of the USA. That's correct. It was very confusing when you were reading, because you're thinking it's us. It looks like us. Brendan, you're also right. It's the US, which looks like us. Somebody else could have read it as us and not USA. Okay, so that's the second one. What else? Allowed. Correct. Yes. Very good. You see, this is that you edit your draft. You must always edit your final draft so you don't make mistakes like this learner has. Okay, the other mistakes that are in the summary is they don't answer the 5 W's and the 1 H questions. They stray from talking about the article itself to giving the writer's opinion. All right. You can't do that with summaries. Your opinion is not as valued with summary writing as it is with other writings. Okay, so let's look at features of a summary. A summary needs to be short. It's a short version of a longer text. It gives you information about what happened without using a lot of details. You don't explain the gist of what happened. They need to be specific. They need to be concise, which means the sentences that you write need to have one main idea and very simple. When we say simple sentences, we're not talking about what we teach you in the grammar classes or in language classes where we say it needs to have a subject, a verb, and an object. No, that's not what we mean. It needs to be straight to the point. Okay, that's what we mean. Because with summaries, you don't always have the luxury of writing in full simple sentences. This is because you are limited by the word count. You can't exactly do that. Now, I want to know from you how you feel about summaries. Summaries are to write. Do you find them difficult or do you find them easy? Please complete the sentence and tell us why a bit. Do you find them difficult? Do you find them easy? And tell us why. Class, remember you can also raise your hand and show your answer with the class. Thank you for writing your answers on the chat. Easy or difficult? Tina says, easy because I'm used to them, because I use them a lot when I study. Nice. That's very good, Tina, because practice helps, and you get used to it, and you become better at it. It's important to improve memory skills because they are useful in other areas as well. Like Tina said, when you for your maths or for your history or your life science. Brandon says A because sometimes the main idea is mixed up with the other facts and then I'm lost. Oh, Brendan, I also had the same problem when I was in high school, that I just could not pick up what the main idea was. But we're going to talk about that later, so it just becomes clearer to pick up main points. A lot of people find summaries difficult, and this is because it's very different from the other types of writing that you are used to. When it comes to answering question in a comprehension test, we always want you to explain your opinion, which is something you can't do with summaries. The more you give us the details, you explain yourself, you get more marks when it comes to comprehension. And with other types of writing, let's take creative writing, for example. When it comes to creative writing, we always want you to spice it up. We want you to use different kind of sentences, simple, compound, complex, and we want you to use different voices, the passive, the active, and we want you to use direct codes, and we want you to use indirect things. We want figures of speech, we want contrasts, we want euphemisms, we want similes and metaphors, all those things we want in your creative writing, and which require a lot of detail, which require a lot of information, which now you can't exactly do with summaries. You can't even have your own voice, you can't opinion, and most people find that very difficult. Okay. And the point that Brendan mentioned is about identifying the main idea. Identifying the main idea is difficult, but the question should always direct you on what you should do, which makes it simpler to identify the main ideas. We'll look at it, we'll look more at this point. Grade 10s, remember, if you have any questions, please raise your hand and talk to me so we can talk about it, so that we are all on the same page and we are all clear. Right, when it comes to your exam, your paper 1, question 2, it is all about the summary. Look at the mark allocation for question 2, 10 marks. 10 marks might not be a lot, but it makes a huge difference when maybe you don't feel as confident when it comes to advertising or when it comes to answering comprehension questions. So when you master the skill and you work and practice, you can be guaranteed 10 marks, and I will show you how you can get those 10 marks. This is the amount of time that you are encouraged to spend on the summary. You're encouraged to spend 30 minutes. So you're spending 30 minutes on a text 150 words. Okay, so it's not a lot of words. So we'll look at how you can break down the time so that you make the most of your 30 minutes so that you get those 10 marks. You can get those 10 marks. It's not impossible. If you haven't gotten those 10 marks before, you can definitely get them. I guarantee it's possible. Right, features of a good summary. We've looked at it before. Short, simple, to the point. Tells us what is most important to the author, not you, author, and it's written in your own words. And what we mean by that is you can use synonyms, and if you're getting a summary for homework, you can use a thesaurus as well. Okay, but unfortunately in your exams, you can't bring that in. And you can play around importance what the author is trying to say. And remember to include the main ideas of the. Okay, step so writing a good summary. Step 1, read the question. You need to read the question carefully. The question will tell you what the summary is about. Question tells you what you need to do. Remember, Brendan, that point you made about not being able to pick up the main idea? This read the question. It will tell you what may. It will give you the instructions. Okay, so when you read the question, you're not just reading it, you're actively reading the question. You are looking for keywords, and the keywords will guide you and tell you what the topic of your summary will be. So with the first step, it's read the questions and the instructions. So here's the question. Last year has been one of the most exciting and stressful years of your life. You have been asked to talk to your fellow learners at the next school assembly on how to manage stress. So what are the key words? So you haven't seen the text, but just reading the question, it'll give you an idea what the text is going to be about and what the keywords you learn. Brandon says, how to manage stress. Yes, that's correct. So your topic for the summary is managing stress or how to manage stress. That's very good. Remember, I said with the first step, it says read the question. So with the question, you're not only reading the question, you're reading the instructions. So for this activity, you have to list 7 points in full sentences using no more than 70 words. So the maximum is 70. You can't go higher than that. You might lose marks. And the question was you need to list. So you're writing in point form. And here it tells you in the instructions the number of you numbering your sentences from 1 to 7. You're using your own words and you're going to write your word count at the end. So now we know the instructions, we know the question. My question to you is, how much time are you spending on step 1? How much time should you spend for the whole activity? How much time are you spending on step 1? So how much time should you spend reading the instructions and question? Brandon says 2 minutes, and Tina says 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and Colin says 2 minutes. Okay. That's I agree with that. I think that's a good time to spend on that, just the question, because you're not just reading passively. You're picking up the keywords, you getting the topic for your summary, you understanding, and what is required of you will be your checklist, the instructions that you come back to at the end. So you have 28 minutes left. So let's see how are you going to spend your 28 minutes. All right, 2. Now we're getting to the text. All right. So now you have to read the text and underline key sentences that are related to managing stress. So here's our text. Volunteers to read. Grade 10s, I need somebody to grab the mic for a moment while I catch my breath and drink water and rest my voice a bit while you read. Come, grade 10s, volunteers to read, please. Thank you, Tino. All right, Tino is going to read for us. Hi, Tino.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi. All right, you can read for us. Please read slowly. Remember, class, that as Tino is reading, you're taking note of the key sentences. Going to underline, number, come back to summary.
Okay.
Okay, go
Beat
for
the
it.
burn. Beat the burn. We live in a stressful world. The general truth is that stress is not something that happens to you, but something you do to yourself. The good news is that there are a few things you can do to turn your stress into joy. Our thoughts create stress. When you pictures in your mind, deliberately change them into positive thoughts and paint the best possible pictures in your mind. Repeat this as many times as it takes. The purpose of meditation is to keep your attention in the present moment, away from the stressful thoughts that are in the past or future. When your mind runs away, mentally relax and focus on your breathing. When you are stressed, you deprive your body of precious oxygen. At regular intervals, take 10 deep breaths in and out. Feel your stomach move. Visualize oxygen going to your toes, fingertips, and brain. Creativity takes your mind away from difficult issues, forcing you to focus on the task at hand. Being creative can therefore help you feel good while creating something beautiful. Any form of exercise rids the body of unfriendly hormones. Exercise causes your body to release hormones which will leave you feeling better. Science has proven that laughing can beat illness, including cancer. Laughing raises your hormone levels. Fill your diet with vegetables, fruits, nuts, lean meat, and fish. Limit your caffeine intake, which will not only stabilize your blood sugar level but also your mood. Do not have too many late nights as you could be deprived of sufficient rest. Only you can turn your stress into joy.
Fantastic. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me snapping for you? Well
Yes,
done.
ma'am.
Fantastic. Thank you. Very beautiful, Tino. Thank you so much. All right, so that is our summary. And remember what I said? You need to take note of the sentences that you are going to need to write your summary. Okay, so let's look at the key sentences. All right, so here are the key sentences that, and remember the topic is managing stress. So this will help you with your main ideas. You already know that you are writing a list of how to manage stress. Okay, all right, so just have a look at all the underlined sentences. Remember, when you're underlining your key sentences, you don't have to underline the whole sentence, just the main ideas. The most important thing is that you answer the question, how to manage stress. If you look at the first one, it tells you that you need to be positive and negative pictures out of your mind. So that's the first tip. The second one tells you that you need to meditate and let go of positive. The third sentence tells you about breathing and how you should breathe. It's related to meditating. The next step is how you should be creative and exercise, right? So that is the list of the sentences, an example of the sentences. Okay, now we've covered step 1 and step 2. Step 1 was read the question, read the instruction. Step 3 is plan your summary. Okay, and when it comes to planning your summary, you're going to go back to the sentences that you've underlined, and you're going to check if you have the 7 points. So there we are. So you're going to come here and you're going to count if you have the 7. We said that you're going to spend, actually, how much time are you going to the summary? We said 5 minutes. What did we say? We said we're going to spend 5 minutes, right? So no, we said we're going to spend 2 to 2 minutes on reading the question and the instructions. So my next question is, how much time are we spending on reading the text, the original text, on step reading the text? How much time? How much time are you spending reading the original text? Colin says 4 minutes. Okay. Brandon says 10 minutes. We spent 2 minutes on step 1, which is reading the instruction and the question. So now if we're adding 4 minutes, then now we've spent 6 minutes. Or if we're adding 10 minutes, now we've spent 12 minutes. So we have about 14 minutes started writing. So this is what you have to bear in mind. You still have to, there's still other steps in the process. So far we've only covered 2. Okay, we've covered 3. You read the question, the instruction. 2, you read the extract. 3, you go back and check if you have 7 points, and you look at your underlined points if they answer the question of how to manage stress. Okay, so now let's say you have 14 minutes left, 14, 16 minutes left. So you've already looked at step 3. You count the sentences you've underlined, and you see if you have 7 points and if it answers the question of how to manage stress. Now we come to the writing part. 4 is when you have to write the point in your own words. Okay. Remember what we were saying about writing the points in your own words? The whole point of a summary is to make things shorter. All right. So how can we make our sentences shorter? Besides using the different words that they've used to shorten sentences. I know I used to use synonyms that, or look at different words like action words. If it's a long sentence, if it's a phrase, can I cut it down and use just an adjective or just use a verb? So that's the technique I used. I want to know what technique to shorten sentences. I want you to think about it, and we'll come back to your answers. So that's step 1 to 4 covered. And now, write your final summary. Okay, so let's have a look at how they've written the summary. Remember with summaries, you can't write exactly what the teacher has in their memo, but you should have more or less of what they have. The same sentences, the same words, no, but it has to be the main ideas. Okay. Grade 10s, Tina read for us. Can I have a volunteer that will read the 7 points for us? We actually included 8 for this one because there were 8 points, but we only needed 7 from you. So you can raise your hand, or you can just tell me in the chat that I'd like to. at our 8 points. The first one says, convert negative thoughts into positive thoughts. Think positively. 2, meditate to help focus your mind on the present. What other words can we use instead of meditate? What word can we substitute for meditate? Relax. Fantastic. Thank you, Tino. Relax. That's a nice one. Okay. Number 3, take deep breaths regularly to enable oxygen to flow to your organs. Being creative can take your mind off your problems. Exercise to rid the body of harmful substances. Laughter helps to heal the body. Eat healthy foods. Number 7, let's have a look at number 7. I want you to tell me if there's anything wrong with that sentence, or there's a word that just doesn't with number 7. It's a very short sentence. Eat healthy foods. So the S there. You can just say eat healthy food. And that healthy as well. It's not supposed to be eat healthily foods. It's supposed to eat healthy foods. Okay, 8, get enough sleep, rest sufficiently. Okay, so those are our 7 points. You can include, exclude 1 because we picked up 8 there. When you're done writing your summary and you have your final draft, this is what you need to do. You've edited, it's final. Go back to your instructions and see if you've done everything that you're required to do. Check if you have 7 points. Check if you've written words. Make sure you've included the word count and it does not exceed 70 words. Okay? And remember from the examples that we looked at, that editing is very important, that there were spelling errors in the example that we looked at. Make sure that those things are eliminated, because you will lose marks for that, because teachers at a couple of things when we are marking your summaries. We are looking for 7 correct points that are clear and that you've written in your own words. So that's 7 marks. 1 point, 1 mark. The other 3 marks come from your grammar, spelling, and punctuation. So you can have your 7 points, but if you're missing these things from your summary, then you can only get 70%. Okay. So please make sure that you edit and you break down how much time you're spending on each step. There are 5 steps. So break down your time. Grade 10s, are there any questions? Anything you would like to add? Anything that... Here's a question for you. So the lockdown period has been stressful on many people. I want to know, what do you do to remain positive? And what advice can you give to those who are not coping? And right there at the bottom, I've shared details for a group called SADC. It's the South African and Depression Society group, and their contact details are there. And if you feel you are not coping or you need somebody to talk to, they have a toll-free number, and on their website they have more details. Okay, so you don't have to feel like you can just suffer alone. There's people out there that can help you. So what do you do to remain positive? Share your answers with me, please. And here's my email address once more. Please take it down, because this is where you'll be sending me your homework. I'm sending you your homework right now. Please make sure that when you do your homework, it's a Word document. I've sent it with a Word document. Return it with a Word document. Do not PDF your homework. All right. For today's lesson, grade 10s, thank you so much for coming to class. Looking forward to tomorrow's lesson and to marking your homework. And if you have any questions, please make sure that you email me. I will be more than welcome to assist you. Right, grade 10, see you tomorrow. Hear from you tomorrow. Bye.